Hello everyone, welcome to Court with Krissy. If you think this plea is rough, stick around for sentencing. It takes 2 appearances. And spoiler alert, this all started because there was a cat fight. Someone had to spray him with a garden hose to get him to break up. I hope you like it. Court with Krissy is now in session.
Okay, we'll go on the record in People versus Mallory Stefan. This is Crawford County case number 245348. If I could have counsel put your appearances on.
Sierra Coke on behalf of the people.
Thank you, Your Honor. Richard Trush appearing on behalf of Ms. Stefan.
All right, and record should reflect Ms. Stefan is present there in the courtroom in Crawford County. I'm connected by Zoom, as is Ms. Coke. Mr. Trush is live with his client at the courtroom in Crawford County. Mr. Trush, my understanding is that Ms. Stefan wishes to enter a no contest plea today. Is that correct?
I do believe that that is what we are going to do today.
Okay, can you tell me what the terms of that agreement are?
So the terms of the agreement would be that count 1, the assaulting a corrections officer charge, would be dismissed. Count 2 would be amended from resisting and obstructing a police officer to attempted resisting and obstructing a police officer, reducing it from a 2-year offense to a 1-year offense. Count 3 would stay as charged, and count 4, the escape from lawful custody, would be dismissed.
Ms. Coke, is that a correct statement of the plea offer?
It is.
Ms. Stefan, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Have you had an opportunity to talk to Mr. Trush about this plea agreement? Have you had a chance to talk to your lawyer about this plea agreement, Ms. Stefan?
Sort of.
Do you need more time to do that, or are you ready to proceed today?
Can I have more time to do that?
How much time do you need? Hello?
I'm not sure.
Ms. Stefan, I know this is kind of a pattern with you. You like to do this and indicate that you're going to go forward with something and then say you're not sure and you don't know. So I'm not going to play games with you here today. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm a busy person. So if you want to enter into this plea today, we'll do it. If not, we're going to go forward with your trial on Thursday. So you need to decide that right now. What do you want to do?
I don't know.
That's not an answer. You either need to say you'd like to proceed with your trial, or you need to say you want to enter into a plea today. I don't know. It's not an acceptable answer.
Your Honor, can we have 5 minutes to talk?
Yes. We'll go off the record, and Ms. Coke, if you could just remain on the line, please. Thank you.
I will. And for the record, the plea offer will be revoked after today's hearing. It was made in September. It's been pending for 9 months. Thank you.
Well, I want you to say that again when Ms. Stefan is there. I don't know if she heard that, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Trush, how are we going to proceed?
Your Honor, I believe she intends to take that offer, but again, I'll ask the court to directly inquire of her.
Okay, Ms. Stefan, are you going to proceed with the plea today?
Yes.
Can you raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. You can lower your hand. Ms. Stefan, are you currently on any kind of probation or parole?
No.
You understand that by pleading no contest to attempted resisting or obstructing a police officer, the maximum penalty you could face would be up to 1 year in jail. Do you understand that?
No.
What don't you understand about that?
Can you repeat that?
Yes, the maximum possible penalty for the charge of resisting or obstructing as an attempt is up to 1 year in jail. You understand that?
Yes.
The maximum possible penalty that you can face for domestic violence as a second offense is also up to 1 year in jail. Do you understand that?
Yes.
With those maximum possible penalties in mind, what is your plea today? Are you pleading no contest to those 2 charges today?
Does that mean I'm pleading guilty?
Well, my understanding is the plea agreement is that you're going to plead no contest.
So Mallory, we discussed the difference between a guilty plea and a no contest plea. In a no contest plea, the judge would review the police report to form a factual basis. In a guilty plea, you would tell the judge under oath what occurred on that night that would make you think you were guilty of the offense. You understand the difference?
Yes.
So the judge is asking,
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Church.
are you pleading no contest to the charge today?
Okay.
Okay is not an answer. Yes or no?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what's that? Yes or no, Ms. Stefan?
I said yes, it's fine.
All right, I'm going to go through your rights with you. You have the right to have a trial. You have the right to be tried by a jury. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have any witnesses against you appear at trial and to question those witnesses. You have the right to have the court order any witnesses on your behalf appear at trial. You have the right to remain silent during a trial and the right to not have that silence used against you, and the right to testify at a trial yourself if you want it. You understand all those rights?
Okay.
Again, that's not an answer. Do you understand them or not?
Most of them.
Which ones don't you understand?
Can you repeat the last couple of them, please?
I'll repeat them all for you. You have the right to have a trial. You have the right to be tried by a jury. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty. You have the right to have any witnesses against you appear at trial and to question those witnesses. You have the right to have the court order any witnesses on your behalf appear at trial. You have the right to remain silent during a trial and to not have that silence used against you. And the right to testify at a trial yourself if you want it.
I want a trial.
So you're not going to plead no contest today?
Is the no contest the same as pleading guilty? Or is it just
No,
taking the plea?
It's not the same, and your attorney just explained to you what the difference is.
Okay.
So are you going to move forward with this plea today or not? Mr. Fan, are you going to go forward with this plea today or not? Yes or no? I don't care which it is. Doesn't matter to me. I just need some answers from you. That's all. One way or the other. We have a trial scheduled and ready to go on Thursday if you want to have your trial.
I'm just confused, that's all.
Okay, so I don't believe you when you say you're confused. You've had many, many months and numerous court hearings where all of this has been explained to you. I know that Mr. Trush has fully explained everything to you today as well. So I just don't believe that you're confused or you don't know what's going on. You need to make a decision now. And again, I don't care. We have your trial date all set. We're all ready to go on Thursday. More than happy to do that. But if you're going to enter a plea today, then that needs to happen right now.
Okay, fine, yes.
Okay. Do you understand all those rights that I've listed to you?
Yep.
And you understand that you're giving up and waiving all of those rights by pleading no contest? Do you understand that?
I can't be in here.
Do you understand that you're giving up all those rights by pleading no contest?
Yes.
Has anybody threatened you with anything to get you to plead no contest? Has anybody threatened you with anything to get you to plead no contest? I'm going to ask one more time, Mrs. Stefan, and then that's it. I'm going to end this hearing and we'll proceed on Thursday. Has anybody threatened you with anything to get you to plead no contest?
No.
Has anyone promised you anything other than what we've said here in court today?
No.
Is it your own free choice to enter this plea? Is it your own free choice to enter this plea?
Okay.
Yes, it is. Or no, it's not. Ms. Stefan, is it your own free choice to enter this plea today? Yes or no? Okay, I'm going to ask you one final time. Is it your own free choice to enter this plea? Yes or no?
Okay.
Again, okay is not an answer. Yes or no? Yes or no, Ms. Stefan?
I guess so, yeah.
Sarah, did she say, I guess so, yes?
She said, I guess so, yeah.
All right, okay.
Not yes, but guess so, yeah.
All right. Mr. Trush, have you reviewed the Crawford County Sheriff's Department report number 2412001073?
I have, Your Honor, and I went over that with Ms. Stefan before the hearing today.
All right. And Mr. Trush, would you agree that that police report and the information contained within that, specifically pages 3 of 4, well, actually, yeah, 3 of 4 and 4 of 4, that the information would provide a factual basis for finding of guilt as to the count 3 and the added count 5 of attempted resisting obstruction?
Yeah, Your Honor, Ms. Stefan has.
I know I need time to think about that. So.
Ms. Stefan has just indicated to me she does not want to take this plea deal.
Okay. All right. So, Ms. Stefan, we're going to proceed with your trial on Thursday. You need to be present in the courtroom by 8:30 on Thursday morning. You need to communicate with your lawyer between now and then so that Mr. Trush can be fully prepared to go forward with your case. I think we probably already covered this at a prior hearing, but Ms. Koch, you have already submitted jury instructions. Is that correct?
That is correct. We are prepared. We have all of our witnesses served and ready to go. People are ready to proceed. Thank you.
All right. And Mr. Trush, have you submitted any of your proposed instructions or any objections to the prosecutors?
I believe that we did submit, I think we submitted them prior to the prior trial date, which I think got adjourned. I would indicate I have prepared a self-defense instruction. I didn't submit it because I don't know if it will become relevant or not, and it likely will turn on if Ms. Stefan testifies and what that testimony looks like. But I prepared multiple copies of it in case it does become relevant.
Okay. All right. Very good. And just for the record, because I don't know if we caught it before, but Ms. Koch, you're withdrawing the plea offer. Is that correct?
I am withdrawing the plea offer today. We will proceed to trial on all of the felony charges. Thank you.
Okay, so Ms. Stefan, this is your last chance. Once we go off the record here, there will be no more plea agreements. Even if the prosecutor offered it, I wouldn't accept it after this. So, is that your decision?
Okay. Can you repeat the question, please?
Just asking for a final decision from you as to whether you want to go to trial or whether you want to accept this offer today. This is going to be your last opportunity.
Okay.
I don't know what okay means. Do you want to go through with the plea or not?
I really need a few
Yes
minutes.
or no? No more minutes. You've had months and months and months to make a decision on this. Another 5 minutes isn't going to change anything.
Okay, let's.
I couldn't hear you. What?
Yes.
Yes, what? You want to go forward with the plea or you want to go to trial?
All right, it's fine.
When you say it's fine, do you mean that you want to proceed with the plea or you want to proceed with the trial?
I'll keep going with it today.
Do you want to enter into this plea agreement? Yes or no?
Yeah, yes.
All right. So again, I think we were going through the factual basis, Mr. Trush. Would you agree that the information I've identified would provide a factual basis?
I do, Your Honor.
Ms. Koch, have you reviewed that police report that I've identified for the record?
Yes.
Would you agree that it provides a factual basis? Charges?
I don't get to tell my side.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't hear that question.
That was directed at Ms. Koch. I'm just establishing whether she's satisfied with the factual basis based on the information contained in the report.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Koch, are the people aware of any threats, promises, or inducements other than what's been placed on the record today?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Trush?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Koch, are the people satisfied that the court has complied with statute and court rule in the taking of this no contest plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Trush?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Stefan, the court finds that your plea is knowing and voluntary. I'm going to mark that police report that I've identified as Court Exhibit 1 and admit that to the file as the factual basis. I've reviewed the information. I find that it does provide a factual basis to support a finding that you are guilty of each of these charges. The court will accept the no contest plea. The court will set this matter for a sentencing hearing in about 30 days. In the meantime, Ms. Stefan, you're going to meet with Mr. McFalda, I believe, today before you leave the courtroom to set up a time for a pre-sentence report. Then it's important that you stay in touch with your attorney prior to that sentencing date. You'll have an opportunity to go through the pre-sentence report with him. In light of the plea, the court will adjourn the trial set for Thursday. Ms. Koch, anything further from your side today?
No, Your Honor, we will call off our witnesses for the trial. Thank you.
Mr. Truce?
Never mind, go on.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. That's all for this hearing today. All sides are free to disconnect at this time. We're on the record in People versus Mallory Span. Span, if you want to come up to the podium here, please. This is file number 245348. The record should reflect Ms. Stefan's presence here in the courtroom today. This is the date and time set for sentencing in this matter. If I could have counsel put your minutes.
Sierra Coke on behalf of the people.
Thank you, Your Honor. Richard Truce, on behalf of Ms. Stefan.
Ms. Stefan, have you had a chance to go through the pre-sentence report and talk to Mr. Truce about that?
I didn't know. I don't think I got one.
Huh?
On paper?
Mr. Truce, did you go through the report with her?
We went over the recommendations. I didn't provide her a hard copy of the report.
Okay. Did you want to review that report before we get started?
Okay.
Okay.
I would actually like to withdraw my plea, take the trial.
Okay. What's the basis for withdrawing your plea?
That was originally the plan that I had wanted to do in the first place, was take it to trial.
You changed your mind, is that?
I didn't really change my mind. That was the first one I was making a lot of court date too.
Okay.
I just didn't really think it was fun, so I didn't really think you guys would.
Well, we had a really long hearing there.
Yeah.
So there's only a couple of reasons why you're allowed to withdraw your plea after the court accepts it.
Okay.
Number one, if there's an error in the plea taking process, in other words, if I forgot to do something that I was supposed to do, advise you of some rights that I was supposed to advise you of, if you didn't understand what was going on at the time. I'm confident that you understood exactly what was happening on that day.
Not really.
I know that's what you say, but to any rational person.
Okay, but I'm not the only one guilty in this situation, so that's why I want to take the trial.
Okay, I'm explaining to you why you're not going to do that. Because there was no error in the plea taking process, in my view. There's no reason for me to allow you to withdraw. So.
Well, I said that at the time of the last court hearing, because that's not what I wanted. I told you that at the time.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm not going to allow you to withdraw your plea because, in my view, you knowingly, voluntarily entered into that plea on that day. So we're going to go forward with sentencing today. Would you like a chance to read that report before we do that? Yes or no? Okay. So you want to take a second to get a copy of it? Right. Yes. Now, do you have a clean copy of paper copy that you get?
I do too.
Mr. Church will give her a paper copy. So, Mr. Van, if you want to have a seat in the courtroom there, you can. Here's the report. Just to review that. All right. So the record should reflect Ms. Stefan was given a paper copy of her PSI. She's had an opportunity to review that while we took care of some other matters.
Unless I said that I wanted to take a read, I said I wanted to take a trial, and I heard you guys accepted that answer.
So we're done with that. I'm not talking to you anymore about going to trial.
Okay, but some of this stuff is not true. Some of this stuff is not true.
Okay, you're gonna have a chance to tell me what's not true and what is true.
You have it on here, if it's true. You say that I fled the building. I left because you guys wouldn't accept my answer that I wanted to take the trial. I told you I wanted to take the trial, and you wouldn't accept that answer.
In about 3 minutes, you're gonna have a chance to tell me everything you want to tell me, okay?
That doesn't change this though. That you wouldn't accept the answer that I said I wanted to take a trial, but you would accept that the plea deal, because that's the answer that you wanted me to do. I didn't want to make that choice. I stood right here and told you guys both that I wanted to take it to trial, and that answer wasn't acceptable.
Okay,
So why wasn't that
I need
answer
to conduct
acceptable?
this hearing. If you're gonna keep interrupting me, then we're gonna stop the hearing and have you taken into custody. We're gonna try again at a different day.
Okay, because
I'm not gonna keep listening to what you're saying because it's not correct. We had the hearing.
that is correct. I stood right here and told you that I wanted to take it to trial, and you wouldn't accept
Okay.
that answer. You guys went ahead and
I'm gonna
pushed for the
revoke-
plea deal
I'm
anyways.
gonna revoke Ms. Stefan's bond. We're gonna take you into custody at this time. You're gonna be held without bond. I'm gonna reset this for a sentencing hearing at a later date.
So what?
And you'll get jail credit towards your sentence for the time it's being held now.
Because you don't want to hear the truth about what happened. She said that I saw her, that I kicked and hit her, and I didn't. My
Because-
cousin had to show up and spray us out of the house.
Because you keep
Right back,
interrupting me.
please.
Because you keep interrupting me and I can't conduct this hearing.
Because you're not listening.
So for the record, my court will reset this for a sentencing hearing at a later date. And I'll notify counsel.
Here.
I'll also issue a written order revoking your bond and remanding her to jail pending that sentencing. Okay. Do you have any other matters? Okay, we're on the record in People versus Mallory Stefan, case number 245348. The record should reflect Ms. Stefan's present here in the courtroom. If I could have counsel take your appearance.
Sierra Coke on behalf of the people.
Thank you, Your Honor. Richard Trush on behalf of Ms. Stefan.
Thank you. This is a continuation of a sentencing hearing from last month. Ms. Stefan, are you going to participate in this hearing today?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure how far we got last time, Mr. Trush. Have you been able to go through the pre-sentence report with Ms. Stefan?
She reviewed it in court last time. We talked about it prior to that.
Okay. Did you need to speak with her at all today?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Ms. Stefan, do you need to go through anything about that report with your attorney today?
I didn't get to finish going through it because I got pulled aside.
Okay. You need a minute to look through it?
I already noticed that some things never true.
Okay. What things weren't true in there? Let me start by asking you this. How about like information about your prior history, your prior convictions and those kind of things? Do you think any of those things are correct? Okay, which of those do you think is correct?
Joseph Gilmer.
Huh?
The one with Joseph Gilmer.
Okay, that's that might be 5 or 7.
I believe that to be accurate.
Okay. So that indicates the charges, the things you were charged with, and how that case was resolved. What's incorrect about information?
When I
I'm sorry, did you say nothing?
When I finally got out of that situation, I tried to come back and I tried to say something. I tried to reach out and speak up about what happened. Because
Well, let me just, we're not gonna argue about whether things happened or didn't happen. What I'm talking about is just the information about the charges and the conviction and the dates and those kind of things. I know you don't want to agree with what happened in that case, but this isn't about that. This is about the information in this report. Is that correct?
Okay. I don't understand what you're asking then.
So I don't want to argue about the facts of what happened in that case with Mr. Gildner. I'm asking you if the dates in the report that show when things happened and what the charges were, and how those charges were resolved, if you have some dispute about the factual information.
I didn't solve.
Okay, again, I'm not gonna, it's not what this is about. All right, I'm satisfied that the prior criminal history for Ms. Stefan is correct. Ms. Stefan, you don't agree with what's written in terms of the,
I was never punching or kicking her.
Okay.
I was being drugged around by my hair and tackled to the ground, being called a bitch and a whore.
Okay.
When I got up and I called the police.
okay. Mr. Truce, are you aware of any factual information contained within the report? I understand that Ms. Stefan contests what's in the police report and what's reflected, and she doesn't agree with that information. But are you aware of any factual information in the report that's not correct?
So I guess what I would indicate is I think she does have an ability to obviously give her version of events when she has the ability to allocate. In terms of things that I would indicate to the court that are incorrect, one, obviously the jail credit needs to be updated. It's currently at 3 days. I think the probation department actually agrees with me that 20 is the right number, or I should say I've done my math right this time. Correct, Judge. In addition to that, they list that there's one prior felony conviction. It's probably splitting hairs. I think that's factually inaccurate. The felony conviction occurred after this. So again, it's probably splitting hairs, but I don't think it's properly called prior.
Okay, Mr. McDowell.
I guess, yeah, I don't have any objection.
Okay.
I guess I understand what he's saying. Usually you just put the record down, right? I didn't, there's no scoring anyways, but obviously I wouldn't have scored it if this was a felony, but.
Okay.
You change that to 0.
All right. Any other corrections, Mr. Truce?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Cope, do you have any victims that wish to address the court here today?
She is present. I do not think she wants to speak.
Okay. Ma'am, can you just tell me your name for the record?
My name is Mary.
Oh, thank you. I just want to make sure I know who you are. Ms. Coke, anything that you would like to say for allocation?
You know, I was looking at my notes for Miss Stefan, and I actually went back to my last case with her. And it says Judge Mertz sentenced the defendant. He gave her 5 days in jail and held 25 days in abeyance. Thinks she should work on her CMH and her recovery. And we talked about those issues in that case. Ms. Stefan has a really hard time acknowledging the things that she does wrong and has a tendency to always blame the other person. It's been that way in every case I've had with her. You know, she's not very old. She does have some, from what I can tell from her records, some mental health history, whether she wants to address it. Her attitude towards Mr. McFalda is, you know, I'll come up there if I can. I don't need these things. So I really don't know the answer if she doesn't want to work on the problems. I mean, she entered a plea. It was difficult. The court was there. You know, she changes her mind. We had it all set for trial. I honestly think it was a great idea for her to take a plea because I think the likelihood of conviction was high and she would have had a significantly higher recommendation if she had been convicted as charged, or at least in the principal charges. I've tried to give her some breaks in the past. She even got a pretty good break in this case. I really don't know what to do with her. I think the recommendation is appropriate. I don't think she's necessarily a very good candidate for probation. Thank you.
So, Your Honor, I think there are several important things to consider here. You know, at first blush, I look at the recommendation here, and it seems strange to me. We have a recommendation that's essentially asking the court for a straight jail sentence on a person who has only had one prior probationary sentence and successfully completed it. Not only successfully completed it, was discharged early from probation. So from that standpoint, the recommendation seems kind of strange. Now, I certainly can understand why that recommendation may be made. I also think it's important to recognize Ms. Stefan struggles with the court stuff. And I say that, we spend all day in court, right? For me to stand in front of the judge and speak and to address some of these issues is not a big deal. I do it all the time. I understand how to do it, understand what to say, what not to say. I think what we see from her when she gets into court is a trauma response. And I don't know where the trauma is. I don't know the answer to that. But it's not normal, right? It's not normal to be in court and be asked a direct question and not be able to answer it. And again, I don't know what the answer is, but it's certainly not something that we typically see. I tend to agree with Ms. Koch, where I think there's probably some mental health things going on there. Because again, we process plenty of cases, and in the vast majority of those, the defendant is able to articulate, right? Whether they articulate they want a trial, whether they articulate they want a plea, or even in the scenarios where it's difficult. Because I recognize that, we say, oh, you want to tender a plea or you want to go to trial, and that's probably not really the right way to phrase it in either scenario. I don't know that I've had many clients who want to come in and tender a plea or want to go to a trial, but those are the choices they have. I think what we see from Ms. Stefan is when she's faced with those choices, essentially two bad choices, right? Two things that are not good for her. She freezes and she can't cope with it. She can't react. And then we see the inappropriate behaviors arise from there. I say all that to the court because at one level, it would make perfect sense to place her on a term of probation. She's been successful at that in the past. At the same time, I can certainly understand that on its face, it would appear that placing her on probation may be setting her up to fail. There's instability with her ability to get up to the court to report, and she identified that. Again, did she identify it in the way that I would have wanted her to say it? No, but I think she identified that. So I really don't know what to suggest to the court here in terms of how to handle it. I could see a straight jail sentence and could see benefits to Ms. Stefan from that type of sentence. I also, from sort of the raw facts here, could see a primarily probation-based sentence. I would suggest to the court in any event that I do agree with the prosecutor. I hope Ms. Stefan pursues counseling through CMH or some other avenue. Because again, I don't think the behavior that we're seeing at times is normal responses. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Stefan, anything that you wanted to say there?
I already said something. I didn't punch and kick her hair. I did start with an argument, and I started packing my stuff to leave. And she was sitting outside on the porch, and I was standing in the door behind her talking to her. She got mad. She got up. She grabbed me by the top of my head. She threw me on the ground outside, jumped on top of me, and started screaming about how I was a bitch and I was a whore. Started making accusations to me against my cousin. So we kind of laid there in the grass for a while until somebody showed up and hosed us down with a hose to get us to separate. I didn't have her hair in my hand. She had my hair. And after that, I got up and I went in the house and I locked all the doors and kept myself inside until I could figure out what to do. I called several people, including her boyfriend, because he was the only other person that lived there that I knew who to call. And he was taking too long to get home from work, and that's when I ended up calling the cops. But I was not punching and kicking her. We did get into an argument over something because that was the second time I went to the police that day over an incident. And it wasn't even the first time that week that she had put her hands on me. Earlier in the week, she was drunk and she was screaming at me about all sorts of things in the middle of the night for at least 3 hours. This wasn't the first time that it happened, and that's when I ended up calling.
Okay. All right, well, I read through the report. I've listened to what you had to say here, what the lawyers had to say. I'm familiar with you and your circumstances. You've been in front of me before. Separate, assaultive matter. The thing that I have a hard time with it seems based on your behavior that there's some mental health issues here going on. But it's hard for me to tell how much of that and how much of your actions are caused by mental health issues, including your behavior in court, and how much of it is just you denying responsibility for things, you acting out and then wanting to blame
I'm not
people
denying
for it.
responsibility. I wouldn't have called the police if I didn't need help with something.
Well, you just denied responsibility here for everything. And you're continuing to deny responsibility for past incidents that were convicted of.
That weren't true.
And I don't know how much of that is attributable to some kind of mental health issues again, and how much of it is attributable to you just wanting to live in your own world and pretend that the things you do didn't actually happen. And how much you want to try and play games with the court to see how long you can drag things out and continue to avoid responsibility. And maybe it's some combination of those two things put together. I can tell you this, that you've amassed a record of assaultive offenses, both here and in other jurisdictions.
Which were dismissed.
You've been sentenced to 45 days in jail one time, 90 days in jail another time.
I should never spent 45 days.
And so, in my view, we need to have progressive penalties. I don't think probation is the right thing for you. I agree with Mr. Church generally. Somebody with this record, probation might be appropriate, but given that you're engaging in assaultive offenses, given your behavior in court, given your behavior while on probation the last time, even if you did successfully complete it, I think the longer you go, the less probation is going to be a good option for you, and it's likely, as was said here, going to set you up for failure. So I think what you can expect if you continue to engage in assaultive behavior is more and more jail time, and eventually you're going to find yourself.
I don't have the right to defend myself, and I don't have the right to call the police because I get in trouble for
So
calling the police.
what I'm going to sentence you to
When I'm
here,
assaulted.
which I think is a fair sentence, is 6 months in the Crawford County Jail. You have credit for 20 days served. Court is going to impose a crime victim's assessment of $130, court costs of $325, attorney fees of $350, and $160 state costs. You do have the ability to seek an appeal of this sentence. Because this is a misdemeanor, there are no written appellate rights. If you wanted to file for an appeal, you would have to do that within the next 21 days. If you have more questions about that, Mr. True should be able to help you with that. Ms. Koch, is there anything further we need to address for the record today?
No, thank you.
Mr. True.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Ms. Stefan, you are remanded to the custody of the county at this time.